everybody, and welcome back to the Dark Skin Beauties. Yes, it has been a while. We have been missing for a little bit, but we are back now. We're back bigger and better with consistency and just straight education, empowerment and uplifting of dark skinned people. Now today our background looks very different because of course we are all quarantining at home. For me, I'm in my dad's car right now because my house is just too hectic to film, and I definitely wanted to cancel out any interruptions or major interruptions because of course people could be walking past. But you know, I thought let me sit outside my house and film in my dad's car where I have silence and I can kind of just speak to you guys and free up my mind. So yep, that's why we're here. I hope everyone's safe as well during this coronavirus season. I know it's been crazy, like it's honestly been a weird time, but thank God for life. Thank God we are all here safe and sound and able to enjoy this video. What I want to do today is I kind of want to talk not so much about where we've been, but more about recent events. There's been a lot of movement in the past week or so in regards to some tweets that have resurfaced on Twitter. And I wanted to talk through that because I noticed that there was a lot of conversation, there was a lot of tweets, there was a lot of dragging, but I noticed there was a part missing where we educate people. There was no education. It was kind of like, you did this, you did that, you said this, you said that, we're cancelling you, and that was it. What I don't want for us to happen is for us to forget that there is an underlying issue here. It's not about people being dragged and people being cancelled. It's more about us being able to move forward as a people, more about us being educated and being able to unlearn a lot of the things that were said were probably learned. So this video is just going to cover a whole bunch of different topics, and hopefully I can shed some light and educate you guys a little bit about how important these concepts are. So to give a little bit of context, this week it basically was revealed that a lot of our favorite tweeters, a lot of our favorite Twitter accounts had in the past tweeted a ton of disgusting things about black women, nasty things about our appearance, our body parts, anything to do with black women they basically touched on. And a lot of people that we love and know and support on their platforms were called out to be previous colorists. And I just want to talk a little bit more about the role that men and women have to play in this, because what we've noticed is that a lot of focus has been placed on the black women who made those tweets and nothing has really been said about the black men. And I want us to understand why this is, and so that we can actively unlearn these attitudes and behaviors that we have. I'm not a professional. I've literally just been researching and reading and watching all sorts of things to kind of get my knowledge up, but it's something that I'm passionate about, and I feel like what I've learned I'm willing to share. So that's what we're going to do today. I think in order for us to get a good idea of what we are about to learn and understand today, just like with any class, we are going to start with our definitions. There's 3 key words that I would like for us to define and learn today, or be aware of. If you're aware of them before, great. If you haven't heard them before, that's fine. We're about to break it down. So the first word is misogynyoir. It's basically misogyny, but the noir at the end means that it's geared towards black women specifically. Misogynyoir is basically hatred of or prejudice against black women and girls. They can manifest in numerous ways, such as belittling women, sexual objectification, violence towards women, patriarchy, male privilege, all sorts of things. But essentially, misogyny or misogynyoir is hatred against black women. It's grounded in a concept, which is also another one of our key words today, which is intersectionality. Intersectionality basically analyzes the various social identities that a person has, for example, their race, their gender, their class, or their sexuality. And it basically says that these different identities interrelate to form different systems of oppression. So, for example, if you are a black working class woman who is bisexual, those different identities would mean that you are inherently oppressed against, because society does not look out for those people. Now, another key word in this video is internalization. So internalization is an individual's acceptance of a set of norms, usually established by other people, not themselves, through socialization. From my research, and because this is so much science and psychology behind this, I'm going to read out what this essentially means and how it relates to our topic. It's the process of internalization, which starts with learning what the norms are, and then the individual goes through the process of understanding why those beliefs and why those are of value and why they make sense, until they can finally understand this concept and they accept it. They accept the norm as their new viewpoint. So those internalized views are said to be part of the individual's personality at a point in time, and they may be exhibited by their actions as well. However, there may be a distinction between the internal commitment to a norm and one that exhibits externally. That might be a lot to take in, but so this makes sense, I'm going to apply it to our context because that's of course what we're trying to understand here. So a black girl comes onto Twitter and sees every Sunday that people are tweeting about black girls having bad weaves. She then sees picture evidence of black girls showing why they have bad weaves. She also sees in her day-to-day life an example of someone who had a bad weave one day. So from there, she goes, okay, this must be true. She accepts the norm that has been propelled because evidence shows that black girls have bad weaves. So due to the evidence that she's presented with, either in pictures or in real life, she then accepts the views that black girls do have bad weaves and internalizes that and says, yeah, weaves are crap. I don't think black girls should wear bad weaves, or I hate black girls that have bad weaves. And at that point, the view is internalized. With the understanding of what we know now, you can see where my argument is kind of heading towards in light of the recent tweets that have resurfaced. There's been a lot of complaints about how black women have been the focus of the resurfaced tweets. Now, if we focus more on this, we can see how some of our concepts kind of intersect and cross over. And one that I would really like to pull up on is a combination of the two, which is internalized misogyny, or in our case, misogynyoir. Internalized misogynyoir, because we're speaking about black women. So this is when an individual enacts sexual actions and attitudes towards members of their own gender. Women who have internalized misogynyoir may do so by belittling women, mistrusting them, demeaning them alongside men, as well as believing gender bias in favour of men. Women who, after hearing men demean the value and skills of women repeatedly, they go on to eventually internalize these beliefs and apply them to themselves and other women as well. So with an understanding of what we have just defined, intersectionality, misogynyoir, internalization, and then internalized misogynyoir, we can kind of see how all of these concepts apply to what has happened on Twitter in the past few days. Let us look at Twitter at, let's say, the period of like 2010 to 2013. This type of Twitter was dominated by men. Black men, I would say. I'm talking, in fact, let me even make sure I'm speaking about black Twitter. We're talking about black Twitter here. So black Twitter in those days were dominated by black men, and these black men were tweeting every Sunday, probably say every other day, but Sunday was the day that they decided to give it to us well. If you are familiar with Twitter back then, you know about Corn Sundays. But yeah, consistently, every other day, you would jump on Twitter and you would see a black man degrading a black woman. Black girls are this, black women are this, black women deserve that, black women deserve X. And you see that consistently every day as you log onto a new app that you jumped onto. With what we've learned, what would essentially happen is a black woman would take those tweets and think, oh, rah, maybe they're true, you know, maybe they're right. Like, black girls do this sometimes, and naturally they take on those views and internalize that misogynyoir. And then what is a result of that is tweets from black girls saying black girls have bad weaves, black girls shouldn't pierce their nose, black girls talk too much, and do you see where I'm going with this? Does this make sense? I hope I'm not like, I don't want it to be a reach, but this is like psychology, sociology all coming into hand here. And I did study both when I was in college and school, but I still have that knowledge, so I'm hoping that it makes sense. So with those consistent tweets, back in the day, some people may have chosen to bleach their skin, fix their hair, get surgery, do all sorts of things to kind of cancel out the views that were being perpetuated. And because there wasn't really at the time strong black women going around and saying this is not right, or most of us banding together, they got away with it. But because of the detectives of Twitter who do not rest, who come through for us every time and find all sorts of evidence, they were able to call the people out in 2020, and that is what happened last week. People who had been accused of anti-black tweets, colorist tweets, were all called to the pulpit to basically say, what's up?
What's up?
What's up? And the response, the issue that I think a lot of people are having is the response to how it has played out. It started off with us calling out black men, and then people started to call onto black women. And I'm not saying that it's fine for the black girls to say what they said because of internalized misogynyoir, but I'm asking for us to understand why they may have done so. I want to focus on the women a bit more today because it definitely seems like the females received harsher sentences, if you call it that, for the tweets that they had, when really the man them had said worse. If we're being very, very honest, the man them said worse. The men said the worst things. There was rape in there. They all sorts of abuse. We didn't deserve X, Y, and Z because we were black girls, not because we had done anything, but just because we were black. And that is a problem, and that is why people are so outraged, including myself, about how the response from black men has been minimal. The apologies have been absolutely trash, and the acknowledgement of their changed behaviours or how they're deconstructing their views has been basically zero. So that's why I thought it was important for us to focus on this today. With Twitter, everybody has an opinion. So there's people that are saying, oh yeah, the black girls deserve to be dry because they said what they said. Cool. If you want to cancel them for yourself, cancel them, Sha. The black men deserve to be this and that. Cool. Like, everyone's opinion is your opinion, and it's how you feel. But what we're not going to do is allow people to get away scot-free, which is essentially what is happening here. Nella Rose, I know her name has been spoken about everywhere, but I think why her name has been brought up so much is because she has such a large platform, and with her platform, a number of her followers and subscribers are black girls. So for those tweets to come up to her very large audience, it makes sense why she receives so much backlash, because the same people that support you are the same people that you are dragging. But you need to be conscious and remember that in that time, since she made those tweets, she has created a YouTube platform and just a YouTube space and culture that allows the black woman to thrive. I'm not seeing the black men who have done that. The black men that made those tweets have those tweets now, but they just don't tweet them as much because that's not what's in fashion. They're all part of the follow trend and the whatever's hot and popping, and black girls started to become popping, and that's what they're on now. So they want to retweet tweets of when they said black girls were beautiful, but you didn't address when you said black girls were X, Y, and Z. So that's my issue that I have here. It's all about, you can apologize, you can accept your wrongs, hold yourself accountable, but then I also want to see change behavior with evidence of you deconstructing your previous thoughts and what you have done for the community. Nella Rose is a perfect example of how to apologize, and I think people overdid the attack that she got, but all in all, I think she's the blueprint of how to apologize. This girl didn't even tweet when things were going wrong. She didn't even come and make any comment tweet for us to be nitpicking at. She went on to her platform, her bigger platform, her platform that makes her money, her platform that has more followers than she ever has on Twitter, and went there and with her mouth said, I hold my hands up, I apologize, this was all me, do as you will, I'm sorry. But what I even appreciate is her explaining, like she even said with her mouth that I said those things because I wasn't allowed to do it. Before she even said that apology, I already knew. As soon as I saw any black girl's tweets, I knew it was internalized. But it was just refreshing to see her apology was louder than her crime. Do you know what I mean? She didn't go on Twitter to do the same apology there. She went on her platform that makes her money. At first, I was kind of just like, I don't really want to hear what you have to say. But her apology was this, it was so, from the first moment I watched it, I thought, I forgive you because this is how you apologise. The reason why I can't deny her apology was genuine is because what she has done in the past few years. I don't watch Nella's YouTube like that, but I do see some of the things that she does, and I'm here for it. Like, she's a popping black girl. She's done things that has uplifted other women, black women, has empowered us, has spoken on her real truths, her cancelling her BBL because she had a younger sister, just all sorts of things. And it's just, that is how you show that you have deconstructed your mindset. You are no longer that person. So you can't point at her and say, Nella did this and that, because reality is, the evidence is there. She's apologized, she accepted it. I can move on. But when we look at the black men, and I was even going to be naming and shaming people, but I don't even want to give them, any energy. I don't want to give them any followers. I don't want to give them any views. I'm not even giving them, they're not worthy of coming out of my mouth. Like, I may have mentioned some people in a couple other podcasts and interviews I've done, so I changed my mind now. I'm no longer mentioning you. However, if you do want a list of names of people who have been saying these disgusting things, you can DM me. I will gladly share, because I am not defending any person that wants to come out and say that we should be raped and we should be defiled because we're black. Oh no. If you want to know their names, I will gladly tell you, DM me. I have a list. People were graceful enough to send me a list when I requested. I've seen a number of tweets, and I don't think I've even been able to go through all of them because there's that many. That's how big of a trend it was to get onto black girls. But yes, I have a list that I will gladly share. And the reason why men have to be on the receiving end of this argument, and why they need to be the ones that we are attacking more, is because they are the biggest perpetrators of colorism. They are the reason why. But even if you think of based on what we've learned about internalized misogyny and all sorts, because of how patriarchy works, they already have the upper hand on us, and it's through them that colorism can continue. So they essentially say to black women, light skinned girls, you guys are the ones that are preferred choice because of X, Y, and Z. Darker girls, you lot are not preferred because of X, Y, and Z. They are usually the ones that perpetrate it, and because of that, we learn those opinions and we regurgitate them. Not to say that men do not experience the same thing. I'm not saying that, and we'll cover that in another video. I think there's so many different parts of this argument or of this colorism issue that we need to break down that it's not even enough to put into multiple videos. So for this video specifically, we are talking about just black women and why it is that we respond the way we do, because it's important. I mean, women give life. We are essentially like the stronghold of our community, and I, for one, as a black woman, want to be there for my sisters to be like, hey, I know what you're feeling. I completely understand. And I get why you are hurt and why you say these things. And we are all in the process of unlearning them. And I hope black men, as you are listening to this, you are also unlearning them. It's all a case of us unlearning. Like, we're all about unlearning. I don't want this to be like a, this is you and this is you, but we are going to call it out. We're going to hold you accountable and then we're going to move on from it. But what we will do is make sure you know we are talking about you. This is why there has been so much outrage about the men's tweets, because they didn't apologise. I don't feel like, I may have seen one, two odd apology there, and I'm not saying you have to come to apologise to me, and I'm not the gatekeeper of all apologies. It's each to their own. But for me, I didn't see an apology that matched the energy that was given when that tweet was given out. You see how Nella outdid her tweet with her video. Also, outdo your tweet with your videos. Outdo your tweet with your apologies. Outdo your tweet with the actions or the movements you choose to support. Outdo your tweets with supporting organisations that are here for black women. Where have you done that? And what I've noticed is that these accounts have not been vilified at all. They have not been vilified at all. They have been able to tweet their shoddy apologies, their little three paragraph tweets, and go about their business, join in on conversation. Me personally, I've started muting and blocking people because I personally am not ready to let go, because you have not been able to hold yourself accountable to the degree that is necessary. And you can't say it's not necessary to me, because it's not about you, it's about black women. And if we are saying that we feel like you are not caring, you need to hear us. Hello, are you there? Can you hear us, please? We are not talking rubbish. We are here and we are hurt. Thank you. Because what I noticed is that people even had the cheek to say in their apology that they thought that this would all blow over. They could ignore it. So you're basically saying that you thought that, yeah, this was just another hype. You lot were just reaching. I thought it would be a few days, it would all blow over, and I would go back to normal. So that means you didn't care then. You didn't care, but because you saw Nella Rose come out and say her apology, you're now coming to say, oh, yeah, she's younger than us, and to be honest, I can't let her take the rap for it. The whole rap should be on your head. The whole rap, place it on your head, because it was you and your crew of disgusting men who went across on Twitter every other day talking about black girls this and that. I want you to come every single day and tell us how black girls did this and how black girls did that. Sorry, I just don't get it. And it was disrespectful for people to actually think they could go 2 days before they apologise and then come and apologise and give us that. It's trash, and I can't accept it. If you guys can accept it, hey, that's you. If that's your boy, that's you. But for me, I don't have to accept it because I don't want to, and I'm allowed to be angry because it hurts. Okay? Now, to talk very briefly on the BBC article, I thought I would touch on this because my whole argument, it would seem to some people that don't know how to read comprehensively. I don't know, I'm just saying, I thought it was pretty clear that it was an account, but I'll go through that very quickly. A lady from BBC contacted me and asked for me to comment on the topic of the TL, alongside a ton of other people that had asked me to comment, which I'm very, very thankful for, because I'm no expert, but I am passionate about the cause. So thank you to everyone who contacted me to speak on the DSBs and colorism and all sorts, because it is truly what I am passionate about. So this black woman contacted me and asked for me, told me that she was doing an article based on colorism geared towards women specifically. When she said geared towards women specifically, I literally meant the violence or the tweets, or we can count that as violence, but literally the messages that had been directed towards black women. I didn't realise that meant sis wasn't gonna address the tweets of black men. So I understand why that has been an issue for many, and rightfully so. I'm out here making this video simply because I want men to be held accountable. So I would hate for anyone to think that I also feel like women should be held accountable, because that is not my view. When we spoke, I definitely mentioned some of the men. Not everything makes it into her article, and maybe for the purpose of her argument, gearing it towards women, she also thought that the tweets from women would make sense. But in hindsight, I think even if I had known, I would have just been like, no, you need to include the men's role in this because they're the main perpetrators. But yeah, there's been a lot of issues in terms of that. And I just want to say to you guys right now, you guys know, I ain't here for any of the rubbish. I'm not here for any of the nonsense. If I knew that the article was only going to say the female names, I would have been like, no, you need to include the men's names or I'm not doing it. I didn't know that. I done the article speaking on my experiences with colorism, speaking about a bit about the tweets and what I thought and the DSBs. If you're upset about the fact that it's just about black women, as I've mentioned, I understand that. I completely agree. I'm upset about it too. It wasn't me. I've learned from this experience, and what I will be doing is doing a bit more questioning when it comes to news outlets contacting me. Another thing is it's become very awkward now because the detectives, oh, you guys don't rest. You even found tweets of the reporter having comments about, you know, referring to people as Blick or laughing at Blick jokes and stuff. But it's unfortunate for tweets to have come up like that. I hope it shows how prevalent it was in our community back then. From what I know, there has been no apology from her end on it. Whether she will apologise on that, who knows? But yeah, it was sad to see that, because kind of just like, girl, were you trying to profit off of our sadness? Or was this genuine? Like, I don't know. For me, I appreciate the opportunity to still be able to go in an article and speak on this issue, because it's honestly so important to me. I can't explain how important it is for me for colorism to be cancelled, just because it's something that continues on in societies. From when our parents were younger, it's been a thing. We're noticing that skin bleaching has gone up in a number of countries, and it's something that we need to tackle. So it was important for me to go on a BBC platform where it's a worldwide platform, might I add. I had uncles and aunties calling me saying they didn't know I did this kind of work and how great it was. I had friends who aren't even black. My white friends were saying, you know, I was walking past my computer and I saw your face and thought, rah, like, you're really doing your thing with this colorism thing. And I appreciated going into that space. I know people have said, why would you go into a white space? Why would you go to the BBC when it's all white people? That argument needs to be cancelled. I'm not even hearing a little bit of the argument, because one thing I have learned is that going into white spaces is an act of resistance in itself. If you go into these spaces that don't want to see you, you command respect, you command your voice to be heard. Whether the topic applies to them or not, they know that we are here and we are not going nowhere, and we're continuing to make sure that we match and we are your equal. Fair enough, racism is an issue that we're already dealing with, but they can't comment on colorism because it is not your problem. But in the future, I will definitely say I'll be a lot more discerning when speaking to news outlets and just dealing with the media in general, and that's all I'll say on that. I just want to say to the people that say people have apologised and what do you want more from them? Do you want them to draw blood? No, we don't want them to draw blood. But if I want to be angry at someone for a little while, I'm allowed to do so. Do you know? Like, let people be angry because that's their initial reaction. Be outraged. Do what you need to do. Let out your frustration. Eventually, you need to move on from it, I agree. But let them have their time. Don't tell people, yes, you can be angry for 2 days and that's it. Unfortunately, as much as we would like to do that and as much as that is the Christian thing to do, it is hard. It's a difficult thing to forgive someone who isn't even sorry, and we are all working on ourselves, and hopefully people can do so. But yes, allow black women to be angry, allow black women to accept apologies on their own time, allow black women to do what they need to do, because ultimately this has affected us. What I will say though about Nella's apology very quickly is that her apology was enough. For me, it was enough. She didn't have to say any more. The evidence was there in her work. What I didn't like is the excessiveness of her friends and some supporters in terms of the whole We Love Nella Rose campaign. What it actually became was very dismissive. You guys basically ignored the fact that she was wrong. I feel like you ignored the fact that she was wrong. You ignored the fact that her apology stated why she was wrong, and instead made it a whole just unnecessary campaign, which was very dismissive. Honestly, as a black woman, I straight away saw that and thought, rah, so they don't care that she said what she said. Instead of you guys having We Love Nella Rose, it should have been We Love Black Girls as the hashtag. That would have included Nella Rose and everybody else that felt hurt or some type of way about those tweets. But instead you made it very unnecessary and just quite annoying to see, and now people are even using it to pick fun. You completely dismissed the actual issue, which was anti-black tweets about black women. The whole misogynyoir issue, you dismissed it for the sake of uplifting your friend. Like, those who had to re-internalize those tweets or had to relive those moments, like, sort of you guys to have sympathy for them, their fave YouTuber, their fave Twitter account has come out as a colourist. Instead of you guys to show your support for black women, you showed your selective support for a singular black woman, and I just felt like that wasn't necessary. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm not here for the stand accounts, all of that. It's fine to support your friend. If you guys were sensible, you would have made We Love Black Girls and included Nella Rose, and that would have been cool. Nella, you are cool though. I accept your apology. I think a number of other black girls have accepted your apology too. Your friends may have tried to overdo it, but it's fine. I can still see past all the extraness. All in all, if you were affected by those tweets and the resurfacing of people's disgusting tweets, that is fine. It's fine for you to be disgusted. It's fine for you to be hurt. If you need to mute people, block people, delete them, cancel them, do what you need to do. Do what is good for your mental health and your progression, because it's all about you at the end of the day. Nobody's going to take care of you like you. So if you feel like you need to block them, do it, sis. But in the same breath, I would always say, especially because I'm coming from a Christian perspective, I have to work on my forgiveness. I wouldn't say my forgiveness stretches very far, and I'm working on that. No one's perfect. So for me, I'm struggling to forgive some of those tweets from the men, especially because there weren't no apologies. And I know the Bible says we need to be able to accept apologies and just be able to have a forgiving heart because of the same way God has forgiven us. And bearing that in mind, I know that I need to pray and work on it a lot more. So I understand if you have that conflict. We're working through it. We're here to discuss and, try and move forward. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe the next video I'll come back and tell you that, forget what I said in the first vid, I forgive everybody. I hope you guys were able to learn from the 3 concepts that I spoke about earlier in the video. I hope you understand where my mind is in the thought processes of how these arguments are portrayed and why it's so important for us to focus on black women specifically, because they are the main people who are feeling the brunt of a lot of the colorist tweets, anti-black tweets. It's important to just focus on the woman for now, and then of course focus on our men too, because our men go through it, and I will not deny that. That's why we interview both males and females, and like I said, I'll do another video speaking about the effect on men later on. More videos will be coming from the DSPs in the next few weeks. With us all quarantining and being self-isolated at home, I for one have a lot more time and energy to put into the DSPs. I'm so excited that in the first week of us coming back, we've gained so many new followers, so much more new support, so many voices who are willing to speak out. A ton of people have shouted me saying they want to interview with us, which is great because I'm always looking for people to interview, and sometimes I get shy to ask. So I love that you guys have come to me. Makes me feel so much better, and I think everyone on our team is literally just like, we can't wait to speak to you guys. It's unfortunate because our next season was going to be you guys are going to love it. We were literally planning for some sick interviews, but that's not to say we're not going to do them. We're going to find ways around it. We're all going to try what we can do in this new era that we're in. So yeah, that is what I can say to you about the DSPs. I will end the video here because I don't want it to be too long. It might be too long at this point. I'm going to try and keep it short and sweet. But if you have made it to the end, thank you so much. I hope you've learned something. We are trying to incorporate an educational factor into the DSPs and not just be about uplifting and empowering, but also educating. Because once we're educated, we can pass on that knowledge to our next generation who are important to us. We want to make sure that they're getting the knowledge they need and we are raising them up in the right way. So thank you for watching. I hope you've learned something from this. We will be back, as I mentioned. There'll be some more videos you guys will see, and yeah, thank you so much, guys. Continue to follow us at the DSBs_ on Instagram and Twitter, the Dark Skin Beauties on YouTube, and yeah, we will be back to showcase our melanin in motion. So thank you all, stay safe, and see you all soon. Bye guys, see you later. I'm out. Bring me so much joy. You're sweet like chocolate.